I want to know.
Okay. Hilchos Tefilin, halacha hey. We are in the middle of Lamed Beis. We found out that we went to Lamed Gimel while actually skipping Lamed Beis. So we are running Lamed Beis. This is the second one of Lamed Beis.
We didn't finish Lamed Beis yesterday?
No. So וכל אלו הכפירות הנ"ל, and all these heresies, שמשם עיקר כוח היצר הרע, then from there the source and the dynamo and the mind of the Yetzer Hara that today overpowers and attacks very, very much now in the very end of the Galus. All this emanates from the source of it is the Chal HaPanay. They are the source of all the kashas, of all the scientists and philosophers that cannot possibly be explained within the realm of time. All their kfiros and all their apikosis, they stem from the Chal HaPanay. And from there, this is the source, this is the place where all the evil inclinations of all people emanate from. Because the root of all the Yetzer Hara in the world, this is the fact that there's a possibility, that there is another deity, there's another God, This is because what is the Yetzer Hara? Yetzer Hara can only operate in a vacuum. You can see people have problems in getting on a diet. They hold the diet, they fall from the diet, they go on the diet, they fall from the diet. But the minute somebody gets a heart attack, bam, down on a diet, like, woo, no problem whatsoever. What happened? Because the illusion is gone. The illusion of safety is gone. The minute the illusion of safety is gone, the Yetzer Hara is gone. So when the cat's away, the mouse are having a party, so to speak. So when in a situation when you don't have the awareness of the Metzias of Hashem, this is where the Yetzer Hara comes from. You can do whatever you want, it's going to happen. Come on, that kind of thing. This is where the Yetzer Hara comes from. But the minute you're aware of the Metzias of Hashem, the Yetzer Hara cannot, it's not an option. It's like only somebody who believes that nothing will ever happen to him will make a competition with his friend to run across a highway as a sport. Let's do this. We're going. The minute that the person goes to, I used to own a motorcycle when I was young, big bike. Yeah. I also drive like a maniac until I had an accident. Since then, I'm like the safest driver on earth. My wife tells me, we've been driving together around for almost 40 years. I've never had even a fender bender, not even a fender, like gulnished. And my wife sits next to me and she's driving all the way through. Either I'm never driving right, either too fast or too slow. One of the two. It's never, it's like, everybody's passing you, or, whoa, slow down, you're driving like a maniac. But it's okay, I never really, but the point is, like, why are you driving so slow, or why are you driving so fast? The answer is, I'm not a reckless driver, I'm not an overcautious driver. I drive according to what the street gives me, what the road gives me. That's it, no more, no less. I don't feel in control. I slow down. Why? Because I had an accident. the illusion of safety, of it'll never happen to me.
It brings you to the reality of the
Yeah, is gone for life. It happened to me in 1974. Until today, it's gone. It's finished. So the source of the Yetzer Hara is the sense of that there's a vacuum, that Hashem is not there. This is Chalapane, the vacant space. The Ke'ilu Hashem is not there. Oh, Hashem is not here? Okay, well, let's go out and boogie, Let's go out and party. Let's Kovad Rebbe Nosson. היינו, הכפיר של החלפון שמשם אחיזת כל היצרה שבעולם, שמתגבר עכשיו ביוסר, the kfiris, the heresies of the vacant space, from there emanates the chokehold of all the yitzhar in the world, that now, is overtaking, is counterattacking now so strongly. Okay, that's the reason why it is so important that we put on Tefilin Rebbe Nosson every single day. Why? Because Rebbe Nosson is a special, elevated intelligence that emanates from the tzaddikim that can go even there to the very beginning of the tzimtzum shechal lapanoi, and to sweeten the din even there, and to reveal Shem's godliness, to let people know the greatness and the gvuras and the might of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that even the vacant space, and all the kashas and all the doubts and all they're all emanating from HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself, because he gives life to all of them, because nothing exists without HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It is impossible to know HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In other words, to remain separate and to know Hashem. In other words, to be separate from Him. The only way that you can do this is through the separation. The separation is the lack of knowledge that precedes knowledge. Because if there's no lack of awareness, there's no lack of knowledge, then everything is one. It's just the way it was before the Bria. Because Hashem is everything. So nothing else exists. In order for you to be separated from Hashem, in other words, to know Hashem means that you are separate and you know Him. Right? So for that act of separation, there needs to be... זה החוסר הידיעה. החוסר הידיעה, זה אי הידיעה, היעדר הידיעה.
אי אפשר לדעת ממנו יתברך כי אם על ידי היעדר הידיעה.
היעדר הידיעה, which means the lack of ידיעה.
Right. You can't know him if you don't know him?
Yeah, you have to go through, first of all, through a stage of not knowing him. In other words, being kavehol separated. Then you have an independent reality. Then you can get to know him. A knowledge that does not have any pre-lack of knowledge before it. Because everything was one. There's no bechira there.
Of course.
There's no bechira there. We spoke about this when we mentioned the creation of the world, that Adam and Chava were two parts of one being, of Adam. There was one side Chava, one side Adam.
They were one.
They were one. They were both sides. The Chov v'Kedem. There has to be a separation, has to be a cut, in order for them, afterwards to face each other. And then Adam makes a choice. Apam basar mibsari, etzem atzamai basar mibsari. It's not before there's separation. There's no choice involved. I mean, he doesn't pick his shidduch, he doesn't pick his zivug, he doesn't pick anything. I mean, it's hello to you too. There's nothing there. So only when there's a separation, where there's lack of knowledge, then, the gaining of the idea also has the value of the work that you put in, the effort that you put in. I mean, if you're born knowing everything, you didn't do anything. It's now the kisufa. That defeats the very purpose of creation. That's why there has to be, first of all, darkness, in other words, a seeming void, in which Kiviyachol Hashem is not there, or rather Hashem is totally not evident. And then you get up and you start getting to know Hashem. You know, then you have accomplishment, then you have choice, then you have schar. You know, there's this interrelationship. Without this, there's no relationship between you and the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Everything is one. And Rebbe Nosson says, you know, that without the Chal Aponoi, and afterwards there's the Shvir Sakelim, without this, there is no Bechira. It says, it says no matter how elaborate the Bria, everything comes from Kodesh Baruch Hu. So it's like Kodesh Baruch Hu is dealing himself by himself. It's like, what's the whole thing is that there has to be Hader Yediyah, to be a lack of Yediyah, Shekot Mal Yediyah, that precedes knowledge, Shem HaKushas, Shem HaKashas. This is these doubts and questions. They are an aspect of the void space. That's the disappearance of the intelligence, of the knowledge, of the awareness. This is the light of Hashem. This awareness is the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that Hashem Yitbarach took away from this in of Chal Apanui, so there'll be a place for the creation of the world. So there'll be a separation, so we can exist as quote unquote independent being. Keviyachol. In order to be able afterwards to shine the knowledge of the Lakus of Hashem in a more elaborate way. You know, that we, as quote-unquote independent being, now get to know Hashem, which is the greatest favor He could do for us. That's the reason why you have to, even before the Chal Apanoi, you have to create this bechina of emunah. That's the main thing. That's the main principle. This is how you can break the shell that covers the fruit. You know, that shell is the vacant space that preceded the world. Because by using emunah, you skip everything, and you get to HaKadosh Baruch Hu Himself. This is also the aspect of that tunnel that exists in the tefillin, because it goes through. You go over that tefillin, goes through the tefillin. The tefillin are the renewal of the intelligence, of the mental faculties. That this is through the emunah. This is what you are. With this, you are able to overcome absolutely everything. When a person is very strong in his emunah, like for years, from days and years, a lot of days and years, and he served the Kodesh Baruch Hu just with emunah. You don't know diddly. You don't get any kind of illumination. You don't understand anything. You don't get nothing shines to you. You just believe. You just do it. Then, afterwards, the person merits to attain, to grasp Kaviyachol, to recognize a Kodesh Baruch Hu with wonderful yediyah, with tremendous yediyah that comes through the emunah. This is the highest level of attainment of knowledge is a knowledge, that exceeds the mental faculties. It's beyond anything can come into your mind. It can be contained by your mind. So how can you possibly, be aware of something which is beyond your mental faculties? The answer is that the Zohar says that it's something called mati velo mati. You get it and you don't get it. It's like you visit and you retreat. You get a glimpse and you go back. This is mati velo mati. This is like the highest level that you can sort of And also explains it. The Rebbe explains that what happens is that there is, the Rebbe says that there's the 9 oilemas that are totally concealed. They are beyond nefesh, ruach, and neshama. That you can only have a grasp on them. B'chinas mati velo mati. You get it and you don't get it. You get it and you don't get it. You go there and you come back. You go there and you come back. You don't actually attain it, but you visit it, so to speak.
Is this
Mentally.
when? When?
When you have gotten to the end of your idea, to what it is that your mind is capable of understanding, there's nothing more that you can possibly know within your defined borders, so to speak. Within your mental category. But when a person goes with a muna, even though his mind cannot receive anything more, he is zoche to visit the unknowable, and to get a glimpse and get it, not get it.
By virtue of his faith.
By virtue of his faith, because with faith you can get it anywhere. With faith you can believe in Hashem Yisbarach himself, which is beyond any definition. Anything is totally unknowable. You can believe in him. Yeah.
This is similar to the story of the Bas Melech. He said that he missed out the opportunity because he fell asleep last day. He said that you get and then you have to yearn for it. Is that like the same thing?
No, that's a different thing. This is the idea of Meniah that this is the obstacle. That the obstacle is the root of the cheshek to serve Hashem. This is now we're talking about actual asagas. Yes, talking about actual asagas. That he says that there are. The Rebbe says that there are spiritual places of awareness that are beyond the nefesh, ruach, neshama. They're beyond nefesh, ruach, neshama. The nefesh, ruach, neshama are your kalim to attain, a grasp of hilchos. You can't do it without that. How can you grasp anything which is beyond that? Well, the answer is, Rebbe says that what happens is that the seichel itself, the boundaries of the seichel, are sort of like a fence. Okay, that's the thing that fences your das in. If those fences are broken, a person, is go out of his das, is go out of his mind. That's what the Olam uses, to say that, loss of sanity is described as going out of your mind, because your mind has a boundary. Anything which is beyond this boundary is unknowable for you. Those boundaries of nefesh, ruach, neshama, how can you possibly get something which is beyond that? So Rabbeinu says that when the seichel has a momentum, your mind is inquiring, it's shooting forward. Right, this is the limit of your mind. You cannot know anymore, but you want to know more. So what he says that when that will to know, that actual movement to find out, hits the walls of your mind, what happens is kiviyachol, it creates a bulge in the wall. Okay? It's not part of the original plan, but suddenly there's more room, quote unquote, intellectually, spiritually. That bulge is not filled yet with das, it's vacuum. What happens is it pulls in the next makif, from the part which is unknowable. But it is unknowable. So you know it and you don't know it.
It doesn't go in all the way.
No, it doesn't go nowhere. It's just in this bulge, kaviyachol, but you get it and you don't get it. Mati velo mati. You get it and you don't get it. It's a level which is beyond beyond your moichin. And that's why you can actually touch that which is beyond your boundaries. You get to know them. So it's a person, and that's the highest level of a saga. That's the highest level of acquiring of awareness and das elokis. He says when a person works all his life, says the Kadosh Baruch Hu, with total emunah, even if he doesn't feel anything, doesn't see anything, doesn't get nothing, just emunah alone. At the end, and he flow with a wondrous awareness. And you know what this is? This kind of, what kind of a knowledge is this? This means, to gaze upon the pleasantness, the pleasure of Hashem, and to visit His palace. Visit means you don't live there, right? You come and you go. Mati velo mati. But you get to gaze upon the pleasure, the pleasantness of Hashem. So this is what David HaMelech asks all his days, was looking for all his days. And David HaMelech knew what's what. All his days. There's only one thing I want from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what I'm looking for. What? Mati velo mati. Lachzas b'noyim Hashem, to get, to gaze upon the pleasantness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and to visit His palace. Our main hope right now, to get out of this bitter galus, and to eradicate the difficulty, the labor pains of the Geula that now becomes more and more difficult than ever was before. And how much more so by each person individually. Anybody that wants to enter the Derech HaKodesh, the way of holiness. Our only hope is through the might of these tzaddikim. That's the Tefilin of Rabbeinu Tam, where the Gvuras come before the Chasodim. This is something that gets into the very shoresh. This is a huge, unknowable moichin. Now that's the reason why you have to be extra careful to put on Tefilin Rabbeinu Tam, in order to bring the Hula closer. In general, for Klal Yisrael, and privately, each and every one. That each one will be zocher to the Geula of his nefesh, to get it out of the golus, this bitter golus of the stupidity of this world, that each one, according to his bechina, each and every one of us must, according each one for whoever he is, wherever he is, whatever it is that he's coming from, to whatever it is that he needs to go to, has to suffer, has to go through labor pains. You want a new job, you want a new career, you want a new mental equity or capacity and ability to do b'chula. Each one, according to his bechina, you have to go through chavalei de mamash, you have to go through labor pains, at least bol kisha lo de mamash, and mamash to go through, all the difficulties and dangers that any kind of birthing process is fraught with. Especially the very, very beginning. And you have to scream and you have to shout how many voices and how many cries and how many screams and how many sighs and how many of this, of oi, va'avoy, and this. And you have to keep on going through this. And the Rebbe says in how many movements and bending and all kinds of trials and before you're actually married, to give birth to the kedusha of your nefesh, and to and to redeem it from its galus. Now that's the essence of giving birth. As it is explained very, very thoroughly in the Torah, B'yom HaBikurim, and this, when each and every person is zoichet to geula bepratius, automatically, we're zoichet to geula, the general geula. Rebbe Nosson, Rani Yaakov Yalada sing a barren woman that has never given birth because, what do you think, that I will go into labor and I will not give birth? That Zion has given birth to her children. In other words, that her children, the children of Am Yisrael, get out of the Golus. This also explains this Nikuda of what is going on now in nowadays. There's a tremendous amount of antagonism against Haredi people in Israel. Tremendous. You notice, Jews in America, even the Reform Jews in America, as they say, the common denominator between them and the dead owl is they don't give a hoot about the Haredi people. They don't care. But in Israel, there's a big war going on. The reason for it is that now, before the Geula, the Sitra Haran knows that his time is near. His end is close at hand. Even they realize that they're losing the battle. They're losing the battle. Already, like 80-90% of the people in Israel believe in Torah, and 20% of the population is Haredi. Plus whatever it is and it's growing. In that generation, you have, the demographic. People think that the Arab demographic is a problem for them, but of course they're kidding themselves, because the Arab have, the regular Chiloni guy have like 1.5 kids and a dog. The average Arab family has like 4 children. No, they have 4, 4.5. We're talking about the average. The average Haredi family has 7, 8. That's where the money is, right? That's, you want to invest in futures?
I think it's only in Israel. Arab. Around the world.
No, I'm talking about Israel. Who cares? It's
They're taking over the world.
saying that taking over the world is nothing. The other guys are not much better than them. But the Israel,
Put them on CNN.
in Israel,
BBC.
in Israel, it is quite obvious that the numbers of the non-religious Jews are numbered. Literally, they're dying out.
You know what it said on the back of a bus, I saw? Even if the Haredim all choose Butbul, then Eli Cohen will still beat by 52.6% or something. Even if they all choose Eli Butbul, they say even if all the Haredim choose Butbul, Eli Cohen will still win by 52.6% or something.
The main point being that this is the end. And each and every one of us, you know, when you are about to give birth to your neshama, you have to go through the barriers of labor pains. And labor pains, the way to get through labor is to scream. Is to scream. People don't like to suffer. Me? Yeah. People don't like to suffer. But the point is that, as Rebbe says in the end of Likutei Halachos, suffers from Ksav Yad, that the Rebbe says that Yisurim, after they're passed, they're the very, very big benefit. They carry with them a huge benefit. You know, is even the Arabs says whoever has seen the devil has improved, has gained something. It's like the very same way that's a flip coin side of, there are no free lunches. There's no such thing for paying for lunch and not getting it. There's no payment for nothing. I mean, it all depends on how you receive. If you receive it with a muna, then you can then you gain another keli. If you approach it without a muna, you break down totally. It's not there's nothing you can do about it. So, B'dat Hashem, now, Seif Lamed Gimel, we actually learned already, believe it or not. And we actually learned also the beginning of Seif Lamed Dalet. So he says that that's the reason why the Balatzian girl and it's together with Mizmor Ya'ancho. This has to do with the 70 voices that you have to call out before giving birth. And Lamadal, that's the reason why we have to write a dafka that film on the skin of a pure animal. And because this is the beer of Koach HaMedama, and B'ezrat Hashem, Kfi beer HaMedama, Zochim Le'emuna, will be continued in Mitzvah Hashem tomorrow. Kindly click the switch off the halochos.